Post. Right. We're live. We got 2 viewers. It's probably you and me. Just double
So
check.
you want to go? So you can go on YouTube again.
Go. All right. So.
Go live on YouTube again.
Yep. And there we go. And we are live. Mr. Steve
All right.
Froemming. Good to see you again. So I did a session earlier, and we've been doing this to try to keep people up to speed with what's going on with the Western section. And the evening sessions. Oh, let me get this and Phil. The evening sessions are going to be, we're going to offer the R&R Ranch. And I thought it would be kind of cool to do a little overview because we're going to have a lot of people attending the Western section meeting and maybe even tuning in to our YouTube channel to attend and listen to what goes on at the R&R Ranch. So, and we're going to do it Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I believe.
I don't know what happened to Wednesday, but that's all right.
Well, what happened on Wednesday, I'll tell you. I signed up to do a presentation for the IEEE has an evening session, which starts, I think it's 7 or something like that. I got to look at the timing. So, I mean, we could, since we could take the R&R a little bit earlier on Wednesday.
Well, we could take a break. We'll figure that out. That
Yeah.
if you're busy, that's fine.
Yeah, so and I had booked that a while ago. In fact, they're yelling at me right now. They want my background information, all that good stuff.
Yes.
But so why don't you, I know when I first attended the Western section, I heard about this thing, the R&R Ranch, and I didn't know what it was the first meeting I went to, and I didn't go. But I now, after so many years of going, I realize the value of the R&R Ranch, and I know you are part of the, I guess it's the part of the Wisconsin chapter of the IAEI.
Correct.
So why don't you give some background, how to get started? I mean, was it there when did you start it? Who started it? And what is it?
Well, the R&R from I should have thought I could have grabbed the photo album that I have that goes back quite a ways. The original R&R, Ron Janikowski and Ron Palm started, just having a hospitality room for our events and a Western section. And, it just kept getting a little bit bigger and bigger. And Ron would get a trailer and load more stuff in it, and then get a bigger trailer and then get stuff. And then the Wisconsin chapter was hosting this, and then it just kept growing. People, like to do networking. It's a great place to come and get a beverage, get some snacks, and sometimes even get basically a full meal. Those that are used to it, it's like you don't really have to go out to eat. You eat enough hors d'oeuvres, that makes a meal.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I would call those hors d'oeuvres because, I mean, there's you got a lot of good food there.
Yeah, Ron would always do a real good job on some kind of special things, and we had the ability to do deep frying like we had at some events.
Yep.
He'd deep fry fresh fish, and other people would bring different things, and of course, you'd have our Wisconsin cheeses, and we'd have our adult beverages from around the country to showcase every part of the nation there.
And you know what? And it's those adult beverages that just help the code become more clear, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of good discussion. The people that are in the place there, filter through over the evening, and you see pretty much everybody come through there at some point. So if you stay there long enough, you'll run into all the guys, all the presenters, a lot of the vendors, of course, other participants, and you get to see how things are different in other parts of the country. Western section is a pretty good size section, but the interesting part is, well, this is the way we do it, or this is the way I want to see it. But that's not the way they do it everywhere else. And you might pick some, new ideas or some new insight on things, and you talk to the people, and you Mark Early is right there. You want to talk to him and ask him some questions. Of course,
Yep.
he's retired now. Jeff Sargent should be there, but this year, we gotta go virtual. So we'll see who pops in the room. Larry Era is coming in. But the in-person R&R, I mean, it just grew and grew. We got our own popcorn machine. I'm the secretary treasurer of a Wisconsin chapter, and Sue and I kind of took over things a little while ago, and we got a trailer, and we got all kinds of stuff that we travel around with. And now our current president, Pam Thiesenhusen, Dale Bowie, is our general bartender mixologist, and he's been around for quite a while now. That everybody knows him,
Okay,
and
wait.
they guys take care of you.
Hold on. I got to stop you there. Mixologist?
Well, the later in the evening, you don't notice how things are.
I love it. Mixologist. I had never heard a bartender be called a
Oh
mixologist.
well, that's what you go to school for in the state of Wisconsin. They have
Is
mixology school here.
really?
Oh yeah, seriously.
Wow, I thought you made that term up.
Oh, that's you go to mixology school right here in the state of Wisconsin, and then you can get your bartender's license.
Excellent.
Teach
Excellent.
you how to shake like this, not like this. You gotta shake and not stir. Got to
That's
know all those things. So over the years, things just started to ramp up and stuff. And Sue and I aren't as involved anymore with all my other duties. But Dale Bovey and Adam and Pam, they're meeting. And in the western section, we get a lot of help from other people.
right. Yeah, that's true. I know Dan Neeser. I know from a busman perspective, we've contributed to that as well, and I think we try to
Eaton
do
has
ours.
always been a good help with our system. We get a lot of help from other chapters, North Dakota, Michigan, uh, South Dakota.
Hmm.
Larry helps us out, and his wife Larry Kippis, they help us out quite a bit. And it's a nice place to just relax, sit down. It's usually in try to be in like the presidential suite, sit, relax, watch a game, uh, whatever. Wait for Forrester to come in so you can give him a hard time, all those kind of things.
Absolutely. But you made a good point, and I think this we came up with the whole topic of creating the virtual R&R Ranch, for obvious reasons. I mean, we can't be together at the Western section, but a virtual R&R Ranch. We're going to have the first nights. Larry's going to be our host, and he's going to be talking about the 2023 code cycle. He's the coordinating committee chair, so he volunteered to give us some insight on direction, where we see the future of the NEC.
That's great.
And I might even try to get Jeff Sargent engaged with that as well. But it's sometimes it's kind of hard, even in the evenings. We've been working through the night, and the NFPA are going to be they've got to get ready for the code panel meetings and whatnot. But the other aspect of it is quite often you'll have the presenters there. So what I'm going to do is I'll reach out to some of our presenters during the week to see if we can't get them to join in on the R&R Ranch, even if it's one at a time. And then there's the whole perspective of, like you said, in my jurisdiction, we do it this way. In someone else's jurisdiction, they do it a different way. And it's a really good opportunity to talk about those differences and how we enforce various areas of the NEC.
Yeah, and it's a real good place just to talk about general things, or if you hear about some code discussion that was during the meeting, you can focus a little bit more on that with maybe the presenter that was in that topic, or if you hear rumors of some code changes that are coming up. September 10th, we'll have our closing of the public inputs. So
Yeah.
we should know some of the things there by the time we get to our meeting. And you hear some inklings like, are they really proposing to change this? You can talk to people that are on those code making panels. As we
Right.
discussed, I'm on code making panel 13, and as my wife will tell you, I'm happy to discuss code with anybody just about any time,
Mm-hmm.
unless 90 Day Fiance is on, and then we have to watch that during.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, yeah. So you're on 13, huh?
Yeah, I got my man, Mr. Neeser, right next to me usually, and
That's right.
we correlate, and it's a good panel, emergency systems and
You're
transfer
the one.
switch kind of things.
You put two public inputs. There were two public inputs, and it's just now you're smiling because they were on the same item. I think it was selectively coordinating on the normal side
Okay.
or up through the normal side. And you said it should
Yeah.
not coordinate up through the normal, and then you put another one that says it should coordinate up through the normal. And I think you were basically saying, listen, guys, poop or get off the pot. Make a decision on what has to selectively coordinate and what doesn't. Right.
Yeah, basically, you are correct, sir. I've got, well, wait to see what happens on the 10th. I've got probably 5 or 6 on the same article in 680 that, from an enforcer point of view, and we all come from different points of view. I mean, we have engineers, we have enforcers, we have more sales, technical people, we have installers. Our organization runs the gamut of all different kinds of people
Yep.
that are in the association. And when you look at it one way and we look at it a different way, and an installer might say, "Why are you doing this?" And the point of that particular input was exactly what you said. In our code making panel 13, people couldn't clearly understand at times what was selectively coordinated. You coordinate only on the emergency side or on the emergency side and the normal side. So my input was, we're going to do it all one way, or you do it all the other way.
Yeah.
Pick one,
Yeah.
but clearly write in what it is. And as many proposals go, for those that aren't familiar with how the process is, I kind of got shot down a little bit in what my wordings were, but then we all brainstormed a little bit and came up with have a little task group kind of thing, and Jim Dollard and whatnot came up with a diagram. And
Yeah.
that's the diagram that's in the code right now. And now it's very clear now
Yeah.
what you have to coordinate. And that's the point from an enforcer standpoint. I really, in a lot of cases, don't care what if the staple has to be 8 inches from the box if there's no clamp, and 12 inches from the box if there is a clamp. Why one versus the other is really not the point at the moment. As an enforcer, what is it? Is it 8 inches or 12 inches? You can tell what 8 inches or 12 inches.
Right.
But is it adequately supported within a reasonable distance from the box? Those are the kind of things that sometimes need a little bit more.
Yeah, and I just got to change this. This is bothering me because I just did Bill Brooks, and I got to put in Steve Froemming about the R&R Ranch. Yeah, I had the wrong footer going on.
Oh, it's so small on my screen here, I can't.
There we go. It's Froemming, right? Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, but I remember seeing that public input. And in fact, I saw the first one, and it said it shouldn't selectively coordinate. I was looking at him thinking, boy, I wonder how he gets that. And then before I even saw your next one, I'm like, okay, well, then I was like, well, he can't make up his mind. But then I realized what you were doing. You're basically saying, look, guys, this is confusing in the industry from an inspector's perspective. And you know what? Here's the point. The issue is, if the inspector's having a hard time figuring out how to enforce it, how do the design engineers and contractors design to it when I might be enforcing it one way in one jurisdiction and a different way in another?
Right. That's the point with a lot of my inputs that you'll that you'll see coming up in this session.
So give us a teaser on some public input ideas.
Well, 680 talks about
Pools, so 680 swimming pools.
Pools. You're catching me off guard here. I should have my notes here.
That's okay.
There's a bunch of issues as far as the wording has changed a little bit now, because we don't have the same requirements as we used to, unless you have, for wiring methods, unless you have a corrosive environment.
Oh,
So, what's a corrosive environment? Well, when you're inside of a room that has pool equipment and pool chemicals stacked up in there, and it's just a little 4x4, closet,
hmm,
it's pretty clear that that's the room that's a corrosive environment. But some of the wording on the code language now says an area, or under a deck, an area around the equipment where it could be dispensed. Now I'm doing this all off the top of my head now without my
sure.
book. So what's an area? Under a deck that's 6 feet tall, under a deck that's 8 feet tall, under a
Oh,
deck
yeah.
that's 4 feet, that's a crawl space.
Right.
What's the area? What's the vicinity?
What's a
You
crawl
can't.
space?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so
Yeah.
you really can't say that under a deck that's 8 feet high, and your pool equipment is 10 feet, 20 feet away from where your dispenser is for your chlorine, that whole area is a corrosive area.
Right.
But I could see some inspectors saying that because it's very ambiguous. This is an area, it's under a deck. You have a dispenser for chlorine, or whatever your product is, and not that you're have open container, uh, but somebody could say, hey, this is a corrosive environment, and
Yeah.
I don't know that that's what the code making panel meant, but that's what it says. So there's a few different options for that panel to look at and pick some of the wording. Along with that is some things that talk about wiring methods. It says if you don't have a corrosive environment, you can use a Chapter 3 wiring method out to your pump,
Right.
uh, and for a hot tub. Well, I literally had a few months ago a person who ran NM cable out of the inside of the house to GFCI, nice disconnect on the outside of the house,
Hmm.
then down into the ground and Schedule 80 PVC over to the hot tub, all in NM cable. And obviously the larger NM cable to the tub itself. But it says Chapter 3 wiring method is allowed. Well,
Yeah.
NM cable is a Chapter 3 wiring method. So then you have to say, well, yes, but there's these other parts of the code that say, the environment is not suitable for normal NM cable to be outdoors in a wet location. So I've got some tweaks going in there to
Good.
pick a couple of things that try to say, you have to wire for the method you're at. So not just plain Chapter 3. Now there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, everybody knows you can't use that cable outside in a wet location. Well, not everybody that's wiring stuff is, a qualified individual. And a lot of jurisdictions do allow homeowners to do work, uh, if it's their own home kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the code should be very clear when possible. You want to try to be, clear and concise. And I don't think you mean any Chapter 3 wiring method. So just tweak some stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. And what's really cool is this discussion that we're having right now is usually this is the stuff that occurs at the R&R Ranch,
Yeah.
and somehow we've got to capture that. I know it's kind of it's going to be a little difficult. I'm researching some ways to get some dial-in capabilities. So if we can get people on the line to say, hey, so and so wants to talk a little bit, I can call people up and make a phone call out and bring them right into this discussion. So we can do that as well. I've got to figure out a way to manage that because last thing I need to do is say, hey, put my phone number out there. Although I do a lot of that anyway, I do, you know, I don't have a problem with people calling me on my cell phone, but I just got to make it a little bit easier so that we can get people engaged.
Yeah, and with all the new things and technology and COVID kind of stuff going on, it works real well when we're doing things like this because we have to kind of pushed into the new, pushed up the line a little bit on getting some of this done.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people that don't have good internet service. They don't have, the technology. Some of the
Yeah.
classes I'm teaching, I'm noticing that the guys are on their phone watching. I mean, they don't have a full size computer, or at the time of the class or the time of the thing, they don't have the ability to get to a computer. So some of us here with have a couple of screens and things and stuff to play with kind of forget that there's a lot of people that don't have the infrastructure, and calling on a phone and listening is certainly better than not being able to be part of the discussion at all.
Yeah, and that's another good point, because I've had people, you do programs as do I, and I have a YouTube channel, and you've got resources, etc. I've had people say, they like the what do they call that whenever you listen to it on the almost like a radio station. They
Oh,
call it,
podcast?
yeah. And they
Yeah.
asked me if I had a podcast, and I was like, no, I don't do a podcast. But you can take these YouTube sessions that we do, and like you said, I mean, I've been in the car driving, and I just tune up. I have a whole string of them, and I listen to them, interviews with people and discussions.
Yeah, years and years ago when I was on the road truck driving, I would tape with cassettes, uh, late night radio talk shows, and then play them while I was driving, kind of like books on tape kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
smart.
yeah, so nowadays you got the more electronic stuff, and you and I have talked about this. I re-listen to a lot of your presentations while I'm cutting the grass. I
Yeah.
got just put my headphones on when I'm cutting the grass anyway, and you go over stuff, and so you can't see the pictures, but you can hear what's being discussed, and a lot of the discussion, like we're doing right now, you don't need to have pictures for.
That's exactly right.
So
Yeah, and I think that's that's a key aspect of the R&R Ranch as well, because I think it's going to be during the Western section. It will be more discussion and talking about code changes, where our heads are with regard to different jurisdictions, how they incorporate that, and maybe some follow up from the presenters as well to talk about and even field even more questions about their presentations. So
yeah, just be a nice open forum that anybody, can
yeah.
raise their hand or hit their hand up icon or whatever, and chime in. And it's uh, not formal where, hey, we don't want to hear from you. The point is to hear from everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of when we're in person. You just and you get to meet people, and then the next time you see them, it's like, oh, I know where that is, or you hear them online, or you see something about it. It's like, oh yeah, that Tom Dimitrovich guy. He likes to go pheasant hunting, and he likes to go clays and this and that.
Yeah.
Who's got time for that?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Now,
I do
he's
love
got a Ford truck. If he didn't have a Ford, he wouldn't have to fix it.
oh, did I tell you? So the Ford Saga, I got the frame set up, and I did body work this past weekend.
Yeah, I saw some stuff on there, but I caught the tail end of it and wasn't able to rewind it.
Yeah, I tell you what, it worked out good. I've never done body work, so I went and I fabricated some panels for my around the wheel wells. I got those in. I took it over to the guy who was going to inspect it, and because they look at the wheel wells too, I didn't realize it was just the frame. They also look, my back wheels had rusty around the edges, and there was some steel missing
Yeah,
there. And they said, you got to have that all fixed. So he looked at it. And what was really
really.
cool was he's a mechanic, right? So he looked at it and he goes, wow, he says, you've got a good fabricator. And I didn't tell him it was me, because last thing
Well,
I need is him to go, you did this? Well, I'm going to look at it closer,
yeah, yeah, no, yeah. It's like if a contractor does your work or the homeowner does the work, you're gonna look
Right.
a little closer if you know the homeowner did it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it came out really good. I just visited the paint guy this morning. I got some body filler, and he gave me some instructions on how to use that. So I'm gonna be smoothing it out, and then I'll be painting those back fenders. It's a work truck, so I don't have to really, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I love learning new stuff. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a 1980 GMC pickup truck I've had since it was brand new.
Wow, how many miles you got on it?
Oh, I don't know that it even got 100,000. Maybe around there. I haven't really driven it much lately.
Wow.
I put a different motor in there for tractor pulling stock circuit. So
Tractor pulling.
it's got a 400 with a 350 crank in it. So,
Wow.
but it's all
Wow.
just amateur stuff. As a stock truck, I would go, and it's
Yeah.
nowadays it's a little different, and everybody's got their diesels and whatnot. This is years ago, back in the 80s or early 80s.
Well, that's cool.
But it's yeah, I like the old trucks. No worry about plastic parts and things on there.
Right. Oh no.
You hit your head on that dashboard. You're hitting your head.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And like my truck is a 2005 F-150. I got the 5.4 Triton engine in it with it, which is problematic. I might have to change the phasers. I'm looking forward to that one. But I've had that engine all apart outside of the phasers. I've done a lot of work on the engine, and it's purring like a kitten. And then I find out my frame is rotting out. So
Yeah, that's
but I got it fixed up. But you're right though, that I know on some of the new Fords and probably other manufacturers as well, there's a lot more aluminum even in the body. So
yeah. Now everything is lightweight. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, you may not have the rust anymore on a lot of those parts, but if you had to modify, you've got to learn how to weld aluminum now instead of steel.
Yeah.
So just puts a different twist on things. But yeah, I'm enjoying work on learning how to do body work now. I've done my welding. I've learned how to weld. I've learned how to use my plasma cutter, and I'm not doing too bad. And for a mechanic to look at my body work and go, "You've got a good fabricator."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch
Even the
the
paint
right
guy.
YouTube channels.
Yeah, my paint guy, he come out and he looked at it and he goes, you're not going to need that much body filler because whoever did your fabrication did a great job. And I'm like,
Good.
nice. So, but yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And we'll talk about this stuff, and we'll talk about, just about anything at the R&R Ranch. This is all the stuff that happens at the R&R Ranch.
Yeah, I'll have to get my photo album out that I have archived here, and I can hold some pictures up in front of the camera there.
There we go. Yeah. And if you email them to me, I can put them up on the screen.
Well, they're all real pictures.
Oh.
Like in an actual photo album.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, digitize that,
they're
baby.
not electronic.
All right. Jeez. Yeah. So we'll definitely have a good week, the week of the 21st, and I'm going to work on seeing what I can do. I know the afternoon sessions stop at 4, so maybe we can do an R&R Ranch starting at 5, depending upon when I go live on that IEEE presentation.
Yeah, 5 Eastern.
Yes, 5 Eastern.
So we always have to remember to tell people what time zone.
That's right. Yeah, and in fact, so I'm learning those. Trying to coordinate 3. So I was just talking to Bill Brooks, and he was asking me where the Western section covers, and I explained to him that we go from West Virginia over there on the eastern side, all the ways over to Colorado.
Yeah, and Wyoming.
And so that's
Dakotas, and
yeah. So that would be that's 3 time zones: Eastern, Central, and
Mountain.
Mountain. Yeah.
I always wondered why it wasn't just called the Midwestern section. Because there's
yeah.
So. Then we get Arkansas. We don't want to forget our friends down in Arkansas.
Oh yeah. Or is that Arkansas?
Yeah. Well, we could discuss that at the
R&R Ranch.
Of the R&R.
That's right. That's right. And that's when the mud wrestling and everything else comes up, right?
I don't know anything about that.
I don't know anything about that.
I wouldn't have any pictures of any.
That's good. Excellent. Well, hopefully we'll get people. So the details on the R&R Ranch, again, we're going to go live every evening, and it will be on the Open Western Section YouTube site. And I'll try to stream it also to Facebook. And I got to look and see how many live streams I can have from Caster, but I'll try to get that to as many locations because I think it's really good information that we will be discussing. And it's going to be something that, people aren't going to be paying for the R&R Ranch. But we're going to be communicating heavily with all of those people who are registered. And we've got a great program for the morning and afternoon sessions, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the morning on Friday. That is 18 CEU credits. Yeah. And we're doing a special. So anybody who's an IAEI member, if you're an IAEI member, before you register, contact me or somebody on the Western Section board, and we'll give you the IAEI membership promotional code, because we get a 50% discount off of the entire week registration. So we're doing $200 for the week for 18 CEU hour credits. That's pretty inexpensive per credit. And then if you're an IAEI member, the value of your membership is a 50% discount. So that's only $100 for 18 credits. That's just, that's Crazy Eddie's insane prices.
Yeah, but you don't get a free bicycle with it.
That's right. What was Crazy Eddie all about? What was that? Crazy Eddie's.
Well, we had a Crazy Lenny. In Wisconsin, we had Crazy TV Lenny.
Is that right?
He would give you a bicycle with anything. You buy a TV, you get a bike. You buy a couch, you get a bike. Then it would be you buy a couch, you get a TV, and all that kind of stuff. And,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. TV Lenny. Then that was American TV. And I guess they gave away too many bikes because they're not in business anymore.
They're not in business anymore. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of fit people in Wisconsin.
That's right. Yeah. And you're saying about the CEUs, I mean, those are the international CEUs. So based on your state, you also can get local CEUs. We'll be giving the Wisconsin CEUs for the Wisconsin participants.
Oh, really? That's really cool. Yeah. And that was the other thing. So we reached out to all of our education chairs in the Western Section. And I know we were going to also do Ohio CEU credits, which is another step. So, and I think we actually had to charge a little bit more because Ohio charges us for those credits. Okay. Yeah. So we had to do a little extra thing in Ohio. But to your point, the IAEI International Office CEU credits are widely accepted across the U.S. So no matter where you're at, you're probably likely to be able to get credit for that within your jurisdiction. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, Steve. Well, beautiful. Well, I think we did a good job in letting people know what the R&R Ranch is all about. Very informal.
That's a good place to discuss the things that you saw during the day's presentations.
Yep.
If you're not quite sure on something, or you had another question, that's where you come to ask it. And people should not feel afraid to ask a question. I'd like to say that if you're thinking that, there's probably someone else that's also thinking that. And somebody has to get up and say something.
Yeah,
Pat Clancy, he was one that he'd get up and say something. So
absolutely,
somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, you can't be shy. And what I might do is, I know some people don't like to raise their hand and ask questions. I might even
just type it in on the chat.
Yeah, or I might even put the Mentimeter code up so that it's really anonymous. Because even when you're in on the chat, your name is associated with it.
Yeah, unless somebody puts a fake name in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So they could be anonymous. Yeah, a lot of people I think might feel a little self-conscious. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so I might open up like a Mentimeter just to give people some more of that, just another layer of anonymity. So you can say, ask the question, and I'm not, with the layers of anonymity become the protection of live TV or live YouTube. So I got to make sure that I don't just broadcast those statements out there because there are some people that will be more than happy to say whatever they want to say.
Yes.
when
Yeah.
they're
There always has to be the screener or
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
they got the 5 second delay.
There you go. Exactly. Because then what you do is when something like that happens, you throw up this and you go, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, was my mic on? I thought it was muted when I said that.
That's right. That's right. Well, beautiful. So I think we did a pretty good job, and there'll be more to come on the R&R Ranch for sure,
Yeah.
and more of the Western section stuff.
Yeah, we can talk more about it another time. I'll have some pictures up to hold up.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, yeah. And the Western section starts September 21st, 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time to 12 Eastern, and then 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern to 4 o'clock. So 2 2-hour sessions each day, except Friday is 1 2-hour session. Registration is down below. For those of you on Facebook, registration is either up above, to the right, down below, or somewhere. And then everybody on LinkedIn, you'll see the registration down below, I believe, or above this link. So I'm just going to check. Everything looks good. Got good connections. Nihad El Sharif is out there. He says this sounds like a lot of fun, and yes, Nihad, you're not going to want to miss this. Nihad is up in Canada, and he's on Code Making Panel 2 with myself. You're on Code Panel 13.
Yeah.
And any other panel?
No, I've done some UL technical panels, generators and transfer switches and those kind of things. And
did you get on NFPA 1?
Groups.
Did you get on FPA 110 and 111? I mean, you ought to think about that.
I am not, but I was on some task groups for that with the coordinating committee. We just finished with your other pal, Todd Lotman.
Oh, yeah. My other cohort in crime. He's doing good. He's He's back down in St. Louis now.
Yeah.
He's living the dream. You got to love it. All right.
That's good.
Well, Steve, Mr. Froemming, thank you for joining me this evening. I know this is late. Later for me than you. You're an hour behind me, but that's okay.
Yeah, 6:30 our time here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, cheese country.
That's right. And if you want wine with your cheese, just listen a little closer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you gotta love it. Yep. So, everybody out there in YouTube land and Facebook land, etc., don't forget to register. Please register. You're not going to want to miss this week. 18 CEU credits. Can't go wrong with the price, and the material is going to be absolutely top notch.
The presenters.
Yeah, the presenters are absolutely top notch. I mean, we've got Chad Kennedy, who sits on 13, and he's involved with a lot of other stuff. We got Dan Neeser, who's also on 13.
Yeah, Chad and Dan are both on the panel with me.
Yeah, we got Joe Andre, who scours the country doing presentations and whatnot for StillTube Institute. We got Bill Brooks. I mean, Bill helped write the book for IAEI on PV systems, and he's on Code Making Panel 4. He's on my task group. I'm chairing an alternative energy, or we call it the Advanced Energy Task Group.
Right, Advanced Energy, yes.
Yep. So we call it that, and so that ought to be a good session. And see, who else do we've got? We've got David Williams. And, Christine Porter is going to do the field evaluations. And what goes into a field evaluation? She's going to do an actual case study, walk you through what goes on in a field evaluation. We have David Williams and Dean Hunter are going to do a case study of inspections, and they're going to co-present that one. That'll be a fun one. Tim McClintock's going to do one on AFCIs and success stories associated with arc fault circuit interrupters. I'm doing one on a success story of arc flash reduction that saved some lives in an industrial facility. I wrote an IEEE paper on. See who else we got. Oh, Tom Lichtenstein.
Yeah. Well, if you got Christine Porter, you got to put Lichtenstein on there so they can do it out at the same time.
Yeah, and every time I say his name, I always think of what's that from Frankenstein?
Baron von Frankenstein.
That's right. And then you hear the horses in the background. So Tom Lichtenstein from Underwriters Laboratories and Christine Porter is Intertech or ETL. But Tom's going to be covering reconditioning. And then also, I believe he's going to add some icing on the cake. I can't remember what his second part to that presentation is going to be, but he's adding some other stuff in there too. So, and all of these people are like, they're top notch. I mean, they're in some cases global, in some cases they're nationwide. I mean, they travel all over the place, so they give you a lot of what they're seeing, not just in their own little world, about what they're seeing out there in the industry. So that is a huge benefit. And you're not going to.
I traveled to North Dakota, so I guess that's, you could say, a travel.
No, not North
part of the
Dakota.
world.
North Dakota.
North Dakota, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss that this year. That's always on my birthday. I'm going to miss Hilton Head. We're going to miss all the good stuff that UL would be bringing us.
I know. Yeah,
lunch
and
is
you know
on
what?
your own, so well, everybody can have whatever they want. No complaining now they didn't get what you wanted for lunch.
That's right. That's right. And I haven't been in a plane since I think February of this year.
Yeah, it was interesting thing the other day. Even though the last time that we went anywhere specific was for a UL meeting in St. Pete, campus St. Pete in February. The end of February was down there with a meeting for our transfer switches, and then we stayed with friends down in the Naples area there, Mr. Pancake from the southern area. He's on my code in the code panels there, and we were just discussing the other day that was the last time that I haven't paid for a drink since February. Everybody thinks I'm cheap, but I mean there's a lot of reasons why we haven't paid for a drink since February. And I'm in Wisconsin. The bars are open, but I'm not in them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and we got Russ Safried is listening from Texas.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah. Russ is with the boys at Chicken Switch, and he helped teach me, him and his brother Roy. And in fact, it's Roy Safried's birthday today, so happy birthday to Roy Safried, and thank him. I got to thank him for helping me learn how to weld. So those guys got me all set up. Yep. So Russ Safried and Roy Safried and crew. So from Chicken Switch, getting you further away from equipment. So that's a good thing. Getting out of harm's way. All right. Well,
you did mention there's going to be vendors during the day, right?
Oh, that's right.
I think you did, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the afternoon, 11:30 to 12:30 Eastern. We're actively soliciting vendors to do a session like this, which will probably be, just them with their PowerPoint, but it'll be a bring them on and bring them off type of deal, because it's right after the morning session and then right before the afternoon session. But, another very important part of the Western section meeting is getting out of that meeting and going to see all of the different manufacturers and nerdles and nationally recognized testing laboratories. They all have their booths talking about the latest their organizations, their companies have to offer.
All the new stuff right there.
Yeah. So hopefully, and we're opening that up again for the Western section to have a virtual booth where you can ask questions for the different manufacturers. I'm sure Eaton will have a slot. I'm sure Schneider Electric will have a spot. We'll have some schnapps too. But yeah, so that's another aspect of a section meeting. Any one of these section meetings always have the vendors, and it's really critical that we keep that connection going through this whole COVID-19 type of deal. So during the Western section, so in the afternoons after the morning session, and those are also going to be just open to the general public as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with the vendor booths when we have them in person, it's so nice to walk around and again you can look at a product that you might have only seen in the magazine, and there it is, and then ask about it.
yep,
Say what about this or that, or I didn't realize this plugged in. The first time the breakers came out, they were going to plug right into the bus bar. We got to see that at the vendor booth.
that's right. And since we'll be live, there will be an opportunity. Now we all know a lot of times some of the discussions that happen in a booth, it might be my customer coming up to me saying, "Hey, I had an issue with your product." And those were those kind of discussions
Yeah,
you sort of
yeah,
go, well, let's take that over here, or let me get you in touch with the right people. So
yeah.
there will probably, we'll keep things tame. But there'll probably everybody has a beef to pick with somebody. So uh, and in this case, from an online perspective, I'm sure that some questions we may be able to just direct them directly down to the organization. So, for example, if it's Eaton, if somebody says, "Hey, I've got some issues," or "I have some questions about a product I just received," and I open it up and I don't see a ground bar, is that something I have to buy? Is it some of those details that might take up too much airtime? We'll take that information, take that person's information, and get that over and continue those discussions offline as well. So
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we'll have like 15 minutes per vendor, so that's not quite of a long
Yeah,
time
not a
to
lot of
take.
time. Once you start discussing a couple of things, that's going to be going quick.
Right. And some of those vendors might be saying, here's our latest products that you need to be aware of, that we're coming out with to make your life easier, to make your margins greater, because we can reduce the time for install, etc., and or callbacks and things like that. So you'll have that'll be the opportunity to be able to connect with the manufacturers.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Tracy Dolan says, "Where do I mail a box of business cards to stuff the vendor drawing boxes?"
Well, yeah, you always try to tell the vendors you don't want to carry this stuff home, do you? You just this will be good for a drawing.
That's right. You know what? I've got to talk to the vendors to see if they want to do a drawing.
What are we going to do about getting that trip that I was want to win?
The trip?
That trip to that resort.
Oh, that's right. That's done. Wait, who usually does that?
I don't remember now. I
Yeah,
heard his name, but that's one of those things. You're live on TV. What's his name?
that's right. You know what? I'm going to talk to Forrester about a method to be able to, because that's another part of the Western section is the giveaway stuff, right? So I'm going to have to figure out a way to work that into, and that'll be the draw to get people to come to these vendor programs.
Well, that's when I'm in Iowa, they always have a thing where I think North Dakota is doing this too, where after the break is over, they do a drawing right away. And if you don't get back in right after the break,
Early
you don't,
bird.
you don't get in the they pull your name, you don't get it because you weren't in the room yet.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to come up with some kind of thing where we could still still send out some gifts, but of course, we have to see how we do that or whatever. But that's something to discuss.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is this is our first bout at doing a section meeting in this type of forum. And
Yeah.
I've been asked, to help with the Eastern section as well. So we'll be doing something with the Eastern section as well. So I don't think the Southern section's having a meeting this year.
Mm.
And I think the Southwest had something online. I'm not sure what it was, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah. But Tracy, so Tracy Dolan, I would say you're going to save money this year on those business cards. Yep. Yep. And you'll spend them on internet access fees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you're gonna want to fast download, and you want to contact your internet server provider and say, I need a fat bandwidth in so I can see these videos with clarity and not be any delay.
Yeah.
But thanks for tuning in on the YouTube site as well. So I appreciate. I think Tracy Dolan was on earlier in the day when we were doing our other live session. So, all right. Well, I think we've eaten up a lot of time, and but it was a good discussion, Steve. It's always good
Yep.
talking to you.
Always good talking to you too, Tom.
Excellent, brother. Well, I think what I will do is I'm going to stop streaming here. I don't see any questions coming in on. I'll also save 10 pounds.
Oh,
And
candy.
so Tracy Dolan says, I'll also save 10 pounds without the bowls of candy. That's true. That is so true. You know, I've dropped I've dropped like 30 pounds since the beginning of the year just because I'm not traveling.
Yeah.
It's insane. I hear all these stories about people who are stuck at home saying they gained the COVID-15 or whatever they were calling it, right? Well, I was like, I dropped the COVID-30 because I'm
Well,
not.
you're not out eating all that good fancy
Yep.
dish there, the
My
steaks and all those things that you get when you go out for sushi and everything good.
Oh man, so all the beer calories are gone and
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's been good. So thanks Tracy Dolan for dialing in. I appreciate that. And we're going to call it an evening, buddy. So Mr. Froemming, thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you and thanks for what you do. So
Thank you.
everybody out there in YouTube land, stay safe and stay healthy.
Yes.
All right.